Today we will discuss about Slater rule. Slater rule is basically the empirical rule that is used for calculating the effective nuclear charge. As I have already discussed about the effective nuclear charge, today also we will discuss about it. In next class we will discuss about the how to find out the effective nuclear charge by using Slater rule and application of that Slater rules. What are the things that we need to study in this chapter? Shielding or screening effect, effective nuclear charge, Slater rule, applications of Slater rule, and finally the limitations of Slater rule. You all are somewhat more or less familiar with all these topics. Let us go by one. First of all, what is screening or shielding effect? What comes to your mind when you think about screening and shielding? Shielding means something is shielding or prohibiting something to coming in or coming out or going out. In case of multi-electron atoms, what happens basically? As the orbitals are filled up, the electrons in the inner orbital shields the outer electrons, or simply electron in the inner orbital, outer orbitals from the nucleus. As a result, what happens? Electrons in the outer orbitals do not feel the actual force as it used to feel in absence of that electron. If you carefully look at the diagram, you'll be clear about it. Now you see, this is the nucleus. If there is only one electron, forget about this. If there is one electron, then what will happen? There is definitely some kind of attraction, and no inner electron is there which will intervene between this nucleus and this electron. However, in case of multi-electron species, we see that these outer electrons will be pulled towards the nucleus. This inner electron will also get pulled towards the nucleus. But due to the presence of this inner electron, what will happen? There is an additional force that is prohibiting these outer electrons to approach the nucleus. What is that force? That force is the repulsion between the inner electron and the outer electron. As a result of this inter-electronic repulsion, what happens? The attractive force between the electron and the nucleus decreases to some extent. And this decrease is basically known as spinning or shielding effect. It is seen that this inner electron is repelling outer electron. Similarly, this outer electron can also repel the inner electron, but this magnitude is very less. So, in our study, we will not consider this factor, or even in books also they are not considered. So, inter-electron repulsion means simply the repulsion or repulsive force felt by the outer electrons due to the presence of the inner electrons. Here also, same thing is done. This is the nucleus. These are the inner electron and these are the outer electrons. You see, these electrons outside have no effect on the effective nuclear charge for the electron of interest. If this is the electron of interest, this electron outside will not have any role to play. However, electron inside, electrons between the electron of interest and the nucleus cancel some of the positive nuclear charge, and consequently the attractive force between the nucleus and the electron will decrease to some extent. This decreases the net force on the electrons in outer shell. This is also known as orbital penetration effect. The reduction of nuclear charge on the outermost electron is called shielding or screening effect. That means how much force is reduced. Technically, you can define it as shielding or screening effect is defined as a measure of the extent to which the intervening, that means the inner electron, shield the outer electrons from the nuclear charge or simply from the nucleus. The nuclear charge is denoted by the letter so the shielding is denoted by the letter capital S or capital sigma, small sigma. You can use any one of these, but as a whole, that once a single class should use one particular symbol only. This, what is effective nuclear charge? We have seen that due to the presence of inner electron, some outer electrons are getting shielded. That means effective nuclear charge felt by the outer electrons will be somewhat different from the actual nuclear charge. What is actual nuclear charge? Actual nuclear charge is the number of proton associated with a species. The actual nuclear charge remains the same whether it is a cation or whether it is an anion, because number of protons are fixed in that nucleus. In case of cation, what happens? We remove some electron, but protons remain intact. Similarly, in case of anion, we give some electron, but number of protons remain intact. That means nuclear charge for a species is always the same. However, effective nuclear charge may vary to some extent depending upon the number of electrons present in the system. Nuclear charge is generally the atomic number or number of protons, as I mentioned, of the species. It is denoted by the letter Z. Effective nuclear charge is the actual charge felt by the outer electrons after taking the shielding of the electrons into account. Shielding of the electrons, I mean shielding of the inner electrons into the account. And in books, it is denoted by the letter either Z star or Z effective. Like earlier, you can use any one of these. You should note the point. Z star, that is effective nuclear charge, experienced by all the electrons are not same. Why not same? Because if I go to the earlier diagram, what is there? This, suppose there is another orbital where the electron is residing. Now, this outer electron will get repulsive from this orbital as well as this orbital if it is there. However, this electron will get repelled by the only this electron, this orbital. That means for this electron, the nuclear charge will be different, effective nuclear charge will be different. Similarly, for this electron, effective nuclear charge will be different. J star is always less than Z. That means effective nuclear charge is always less than nuclear charge, because due to the presence of inner electron, although it is minimal or nominal, how small it may be, but it will be always less than the nuclear charge. There is some kind of repulsion exist between the electrons. Even electron in the same orbital repel the other electron. Higher the J star effective nuclear charge, smaller is the isoelectron exchange. That means if effective nuclear charge increases, what will happen? It will pull the electrons towards itself with stronger force, and consequently the distance between the electron and nucleus will decrease, and hence smaller will be the species. Shielding power decreases with decrease in the penetrating power. What is penetrating power? Penetrating power is basically how close an orbital can approach the nucleus. Generally, s orbital is closest to the nucleus, so s orbital has higher penetrating power than p, than d, than f. Now, if penetrating effect is more or penetrating power is more, then its shielding power is more. That means it will shield the other electron with higher contribution. However, in reverse, we can say that itself will experience less shielding by the other electrons. That means other electrons can shield this nucleus, this electron, with high penetrating power to a lesser magnitude or lower extent. Generally, orbital with higher L means what? Azimuthal quantum number has less penetrating power, thereby poor shielding. That means shielding effect of s orbital will be electron in s orbital will be more than p, more than d, more than. This much I discussed in the first class, so I will share the video of this much class only. Next class we'll discuss about how to calculate the effective nuclear charge by using theta